Hey, this is Andrew Brown. In this video, I want to take a look here at utilizing Service Connect, and we'll utilize it with Fargate. So the idea here is that what we want to do is we want to launch a service into Service Connect and basically give it a name so that two services can talk to each other. So this will be like the first time that we actually try to make two services talk to each other. And I'm going to make a new folder in here, and I'm going to call this one Service Connect. All right, and the idea is that I actually want to, I'm thinking about this for a second. I want to launch two services, but the key difference here is that they're going to have different names defined. Now, in our cluster, which was defined back over here, this one did not have a Service Connect name, and so this is where it's going to deviate. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these two files and paste them into here, okay? And I actually have a cluster running from before, and I want to tear that one down. So I'm going to go over to CloudFormation and tear it down. And I say this in all the videos when we're doing this stuff. I don't tear these clusters down for Fargate often because I can just keep using them. They don't cost anything. But if you want to clean them up, you absolutely can. And you just might have to find the video where we set it up, which is using the ECS Fargate Basics. So that cluster is going to tear down. And as that's tearing down, I'm just going to prepare this one. So this one's going to be ECS Service Connect. So I'll just put SC on the end here for Service Connect. And in our template here, I want to now enable Service Connect defaults. And so that's going to create a namespace called basic. And so that's going to get us set up for the most basic stuff. Now, when we're defining our Service Connect, I don't believe it's in the task definition. I believe it's just in the serve file. So we can utilize the same task definition file. And what I'm going to change here is I'm going to go and make two serve files. I'm going to have serve1 JSON. It will have serve2 JSON. And we'll go into this one here. And we'll copy this. And I'm just using the same VPC, so this is not an issue for me. And the key difference here is that I'm going to want to have that additional code for the Service Connect. So in here, this is in the AWS Bootcamp that I ran. I have a section in here for Service Connect, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this part here. And we're going to go back over to here. And I'm going to go down a line. And I'm going to paste this in. And we'll just change the namespace to be basic. And then I'll copy this. And I'll go into serve2. I notice that these aren't exactly named the same way, so I'm just going to take the E off of that. And we'll paste this one in here next. I actually want to get these side by side up here so I can see what I'm doing. So just split this again. And this will be serve1. And so we have our port name and our discovery name. So I'm not sure why we need to name the port, but I'll just call this app1, and this will be app1. Actually, this is 2, so I'll do this. And then this will be app1. I'm going to go to the top here. And the service name here is going to be app1. And then the service name up here is going to be app2. All right, so I think that's all we really need to do for this to work. So I'm going to go back over to CloudFormation, and we can see that our stack has now been teared down. I'm going to go check our deploy file, and we have renamed that to SC, so that is totally fine. The only other thing we might have to change is our cluster name here. So let's go ahead and do a deployment. Since sorry, we'll have to go back up a directory here and then do Service Connect. Okay, then we'll do this. And we'll go back over to here and we will click into this, go into change sets, and we'll execute our change set. And so we'll just wait for that to deploy, okay? All right, so our cluster is up. And so the next thing is to go ahead and deploy these. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make a readme.md so we can copy over some code. And in this one, we have this command here, deploy containers. So this will be serve1, and serve2. So I'll go ahead and do that. So that will get pasted in here. And what's the problem? Does not refer to any name port mapping in the container definition. And that's fair because in the container definition, it's supposed to be called just app. So we'll do that. Sorry, it should have just been called app. It's the container name, basically. I don't know, they just don't call it container name. That'd be less confusing. And then it says here, the security group does not exist. That makes sense because we actually have a new security group and we launched up this, this stack here. So this is actually our new one. So I'm going to go over to here and swap this out here. And then over to this one and here. So we'll go ahead and try this again. And it says the cluster was inactive because we didn't swap out the cluster name. That's okay. So we'll replace this one here. And then we'll replace this one here. There we go. And we'll go ahead and hit up. The cluster was inactive. Well, this one still says Fargate cluster. That is not the name of our cluster, is it? Yeah, so I don't think it actually copied and pasted correctly. I'm going to try this again. Right-click copy. No, it actually is. So I'll try this again. All I can think of is that I had the cluster name wrong here. So let's go to our resources here and we'll click into our cluster. And I'll grab the name from here instead. It's active. You can see that it's active. And I'm going to go ahead and try this again. So right-click, paste, save. This is number 2. Actually, I'm in 2 and 2 in both of them. Well, that's not going to work well. That's probably why it's not working. Okay, we'll paste that in. And that means the security group might be wrong as well. I mean, no, they match. I'm going to double check this. 0199C. 0199C. Yeah, okay, it's correct now. Okay, great. So we'll try this again. The SC service is already in use by the service discovery name. So it looks like it might have already provisioned. I'm going to refresh this here. How does it use if we never launched it? I'm going to go over to namespace here and into cloud map because that's what it's creating is a cloud map namespace. And so this is a junk one. I'll just delete this one. We accidentally created that one earlier. If I go into here, there could be services, but there are no services. So I'm not sure what it's talking about. So SC service is already used by this one here. Okay. Just give me a moment, okay? Here it's talking about Route 53 namespace services, which here it's saying Route 53 service discovery. I'm not really sure if that's the case. I don't remember ever having to use Route 53 for this. So I'm not completely convinced by that, but we'll take a look in Route 53 and see what we can find here. So I'm just going to look around here. I'm not sure what this could be in. It's not the resolver. Yeah, that's confusing. So I'll go back over to here into CloudWatch. And it says the namespace is this. If we go back over to this one, NSCWIG, SC service is already used, right? And then I go over to here, and there are no services registered. Okay, give me a moment. Actually, hold on. Why don't we just do this? We'll do service discovery here. We'll just copy this command here. Because that's what I was going to look up was the commands. And it's showing nothing in here. Okay, let's list our namespaces. We have that. Yeah. Okay. We will try this again. Okay, I literally didn't do anything. So maybe we had to delete the other one. I don't know, but I didn't do anything to make that happen. So maybe it tried to propagate something, it didn't work, and then it rolled back. I have no idea. But let's go over to Cloud Map because now that's our opportunity to take a look at that. And I made the mistake of learning how to use Service Mesh in Cloud Map, and then AWS greatly simplified it because the old service was a nightmare. But here we have our two apps. We have app 1 and app 2. And the idea is that we should be able to communicate to these apps from our application. The only thing is that our application doesn't have any way to communicate with it because it doesn't have like curl or wget installed. And so that might be something that we might want to install so that we have an easier time. So I'm just trying to think about how we could do that. I think that we could take a look here and we'll have to update our Docker file. There's no way around it. So in our Docker file here, I would like to define in here that for debugging. So maybe we can just ask ChatGPT to do that here. So let's say, how do we install wget or curl into this image? And I'm just hoping that it'll give me the code. We'll have to test it locally first, though. Generally, you don't want to send these with your Docker container because if somebody got into your container, then that might cause you issues. But the idea here is that I just want to install this here. I'm not sure what's going on with all this other stuff. Update the package list, install curl, and then install package libraries. I guess it's trying to one-line it to make it small. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab these two lines. And I'm going to go back over to here. And I'm just going to place this up here. And so I'm hoping that this will just do the install. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our ECR directory. And so I'm just making a warning for the people in the past, from us from the future, that they can ignore that. But we'll go into our ECR app directory here. And we do have some instructions to make our life. Oh, no, we don't. It's over here. Sorry. There we go. And, we don't even need this anymore. We can just take this one out because we only did that for that one reason. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. We don't need that anymore. I'll leave it alone because people wonder where that went if I get rid of it. And so we just want to test this image first. So I'm going to go ahead and go back a directory. Yeah, we'll go back a directory here. Yep. And I want to go ahead and build this. And we ran into an issue. So what's our issue here? Failed to unexpected status head. Oh, you know what? It's because I'm not logged in. Right, so we said anytime we make these changes, we have to log in. So I'll go ahead and log in here. That'll fix my issue because I have to pull from our ECR, right? And we'll build this again. That's going to pull down that image. And then we will go into this container and test it. We'll wait for this to finish building, okay? All right, there it is. It's done. So let's go ahead and go into that application. And it's now started up the application, which is good. For us to actually know if it's there, we have to get into the instance. So here on the left-hand side for Docker, we can actually just right-click and then attach shell. There is a command that we can use, but I'm going to keep it nice and simple here. So I just want to know if wget's here. It is. Do we have curl? We do. I'm going to just do a simple curl localhost, or let's say google.com. Okay, so it works. All right, so that is in good shape. So I need to build this image and push it. And I'm going to go ahead and we built the image. So now I just need to run this. I'm trying to kill this. There we go. So we'll run this and we'll just push it to the latest tag. And then we'll push it there. It would be good if we tag these separately and said, okay, this one is the one that actually has it the tool installed and not. But again, we're just trying to keep it simple. So it's now pushed the latest one here. And so the idea is that if we were to kill those containers, they should now actually launch with it. So I'm going to go back over to our cluster, which is over in ECS. And what I want to do is I want to terminate the instances or the tasks. And so if we were to terminate these, they should launch up with the latest version. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop all. And so these should launch with new ones. I shouldn't have to specify it because the task task definition points to the latest, and it will utilize that new image when it does the deploy. All right, so we'll wait for those to spin up. And then once that's done, we're going to have to get into the machine. So when we were doing, which one was it? In Fargate here, we did this exec, and that's what we're going to do because we want to get in there and see if we can communicate using curl or wget. So to understand that you need to have this Sessions Manager plugin installed. We did that in a separate video, the ECS Exec Connect. So that wasn't something you should have skipped. But if you have, go back to that video because we're going to need that as a prereq, and then we're going to go ahead and connect to this. I'm just going to bring this command over here while we're waiting. I'm going to bring it down to here. I'm going to paste this in. And the idea is that we'll need to update this. So I'm going to go get my new cluster name and everything else while this is going. So we have this one here. And I'm going to replace that. And then we're going to need a task. So I'm going to go back over to here and to tasks. And I can't tell which is which. So I'll go into services and I'll go to app 1. And then I'll go to tasks and I'll grab this task ID. So we're logging into app 1 is what we're going to do here. And the container is still called app, so we'll do that. And we're just going to wait for those instances to become available. Just trying to make my way back over to our task definitions, wherever we were. So go back to our cluster. We'll click into here. We'll go into tasks. And now they are running. So the idea is that I want to go into app 1 and then try to curl app 2. So we will go here and log into app 1. And it doesn't like something. We need a space after this one. That's what's causing our issue here. And we'll copy this. And we'll hit enter. And so now we should be in this machine. Do we have curl? Do we have wget? It looks like we do. And so I'm going to go to app 2 first. And what I want from app 2, we'll get this out of here. What I want to do is I want to get its IP address, and I want to do a test and make sure that I can actually get an endpoint back from its public IP address. So go into configuration and networking. And somewhere in here, we have it, but notice we actually have the endpoint over here. So again, I want to test out the public IP address first, which we're in the service. Let's go into the task. And then in here, we have networking. And so we have this public IP address. Okay, so going back over to our console here, we're going to type in curl, and then we'll paste that in. And that's on 4567, I believe. And then we're going to do question mark, name, Andrew plus Brown, and see if we get anything back. It says forbidden, which is fine. I'm not sure if I typed that right, so let's go back up there again. And you know what I forgot? I forgot to place in the, let's type in clear here. Clear. I forgot to type in the API here. So say API hello. And then we'll say name equals Andrew plus Brown. And it says unfound. Oh, you know what? We forgot the curl part this time. Okay. We'll try this again. We'll type in curl. We'll paste in the IP address, API hello, question mark name equals Andrew Brown. You'll just notice like our terminal is not working like the nicest way as we're working with this. And so the idea is here is I'm trying to hit that point because I figured if we're going to curl it, we should make sure that it will work here first. Okay, so that's not working there, but I'm gonna go just try this not in the console. I'm just gonna try it out here loosely. API hello, because I just want to make sure that it works. It's open to the world, so it should work anywhere. And let's type in curl. And so it's hanging. Oh, you know what I forgot here? I forgot the port number. 4567. 4567. There we go. Okay, great. So I'm going to just copy this one to make my life a lot easier. If it'll let me copy. Okay, there it is. Good. And then I'm going to go back over to here. I'm just going to hit Control-C. And I'm going to paste that in here. And so it's working. So I'm communicating from app1 within the container to app2, but I'm not using the that address there. So we'll just say test public IP address. And then we'll say test service connect address. So if we go back out to here and we go to our service and we click into our service app2 and we go to configuration networking, this should have somewhere in here, there it is, this. And so the idea is that we should be able to communicate with this address. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm just going to type in clear here because this is kind of getting a mess. Can't see what I'm doing. And we'll paste that in again. We'll hit enter. And it says could not resolve the host. Okay. So it didn't exactly work as we hoped it would. So try this again. All right. So just give me a moment, okay? All right, so some are suggesting that it could be a race condition. And so maybe what I'll do is I'll establish a connection to the second one and then see if I can talk to the other one. And so that just might be the case of like, because there's a file that gets updated, which is the etc host file, and it tells you, here it says etc host, like what it knows about, right? So maybe we can take a look at that before we exit this file here. And so I'm gonna just go ahead and do cat and paste that in here. And we have app1 basic, but we don't have app2. So maybe that's our issue. So I'm gonna go and exit this out. And I'm gonna change this so that we connect to our other task. So we're gonna go back over to here. I'm gonna go app2 task, I'll click into here, and we'll grab this one. Okay, and then we will paste this. And I'm just gonna say check hosts, accept hosts. Okay, and I'm just gonna grab this comment here so that if in the future someone needs to read about it, they can. If the first service is launched and then the second one, it will not know about the first one. So connect to service 2. Okay. I'm not sure if I copied that, so we'll copy that again. We'll go down below or up here. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in here. And I believe that's 2, right? It says it's 2. And so we'll go ahead and we'll establish a connection here. We'll hit enter. And I want to do cat etc hosts. Okay. And I guess we're seeing something different here. I'm actually surprised we're not seeing what we saw up here before. Because before we saw this, like app1 basic, right? That's fine. As long as we connect to app1, that's all I care about in this specific case. So I'm going to switch this out to app1. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste. That did not copy it. Right click copy, right click paste. Oh, you know, we actually have to be connected to that instance. Because it looks like it disconnected us. So I'm going to go back and hit up and reconnect to that. Oh, it's saying the task doesn't exist. Oh, come on. So we'll go back over to app 2. We'll go to tasks and we'll click into this. We'll grab this name again. We'll go up here. We'll replace it. Even though there's nothing to replace, we're going to copy this. We'll paste this in. We'll connect. What is it talking about? The specified task is not found. Okay. We'll go back over to here then. We'll look at deployments here. Let's go to the services, tasks. We are in here. I'm gonna see if any were stopped. None were stopped here. I'll go back to running. And I'll go to services again. I'm gonna give this a hard refresh. Maybe it's still showing me old ones. I just don't trust it. We'll go back into app 2. We'll go to tasks. Here it is again. It's right here. Right click copy. Right click paste. And you notice is that we are in our, because we're trying to connect to the wrong cluster. Okay. So I'm getting mixed up with our README files. And so what I meant to do was to take this stuff here. My bad. And we'll paste this in here. Okay. And so I was just getting mixed up here. We'll go back over to here. We will paste this into here. And I'm going to copy this. And we'll paste this in, hit enter. And now we should establish a connection. Excellent. And so I want to see if this works now. Hooray. Okay, so it is a race condition. And so you can reforce the deployment so the next time it spins up, it knows about it. But obviously you have to do a relaunch for it to work. But we just did service-to-service communication using Service Connect. So hopefully that was exciting. Just because this is a more complex use case, I think I'm going to tear this one down. So I'm going to go ahead and just tear everything down now. So delete these services. I'm going to say delete. I'm just going to wait for those to delete, and then we'll tear down the cluster. All right, so those services are done running. I'm going to go ahead to CloudFormation, and we'll tear down our cluster. All right, and I will see you in the next one, okay? Ciao.